Hi everyone and welcome to day 9 in our 13 days of Halloween Book Nook series. Here you can see I've cut out the sidewall decor that we showed you how to create yesterday. And now we're going to move on to the removable ceiling. I decided to cut 4 of the locating strips. They are in the original SVG, so you'll need to just copy and duplicate them from the 2 to get the 4, and then I glued them together in 2 pairs. You'll need to check that they fit the width of your book nook, and I needed to trim mine down by about 1 millimetre because of the wallpaper that we added to the walls. To help know where to locate these pieces, lay the book nook on its side and bring the ceiling up to it, and then where you think you'd like to put the locator, just mark with a pencil. You don't want them obviously to sit on top of any internal wall. Draw a line from side to side and then glue the locator up to that line. You can always trim the excess off if it doesn't fit with an X-Acto knife. I then painted mine black to match the ceiling. Next we're going to look at the debossed handle. I used the debossing tool on one layer and then cut another layer the same shape and glued the 2 together. The debossing does take a while, so be patient with it. I do think it's worth it for the overall effect. I used my jewellery forming steel bench block to curve my handle. I brushed PVA glue on both sides of the handle, put a strip of Teflon sheet on top of my bench block, and then put the handle there where I wanted the curve, put another Teflon sheet over the top, used the wooden forming shape to press the handle down into the curve, and then I put a weight on top and then left that to dry. The Teflon just stops everything sticking together. You can see it actually holds a nice shape. Now you probably don't have that tool, so just use whatever you've got at home. And maybe use cling film or Teflon if you're going to use the PVA glue to stop everything sticking together. I then glued the handle onto the lid with tacky glue and let it dry. You can see it's produced a really nice leather effect, and the Teflon sheet helped to do that. It has a texture which got pressed into the craft board when I weighed it down, so that was just a neat side effect. So now we're moving on to the really exciting part of lighting the book nook, and today you've got a treat. You've got my lovely husband Rod, who's going to do this lighting tutorial with you. We're putting the links for all the pieces that we used today over on our website. So just head to the tools and materials section of the new to Cricut page and you'll see we've added some electrical section now. I'll also put a link in the description below this video. So let's head over to the studio now and see how we lit this book nook. This is just a general overview, but when we do the fireplace lights, we'll zoom in so you can really see us working on the soldering.
Hi, so today we are going to be looking at some lighting for the book nook. So for the inside lighting, we've got this little kit, little pack with a battery pack and a set of lights, which you can either put in the inside the chimney breast like that. You can unravel those and wrap them around, train them around the top. For these, for us, we're just keeping them in a bundle. We've slotted the battery pack down inside the cavity wall, which is a good idea to hide the battery pack, like so, which gives a nice light inside the room. We've put a little notch in the top of the wall here with a knife take the wire and hide that there. So that hides in there quite neatly. The other option for the lighting is you could stick the battery pack on the lid of the book nook like that, and then unravel those and put them wherever you like in or around the room, making sure that you have the battery pack the right way around so you can still get at the batteries. So that's the inside lights. We're going to be putting some a UV LED on the front of the book nook, because Lisa's put some UV ink on the gravestones, so we're going to be lighting those up from inside or behind the front panel. So we're going to have a look at wiring the LED for that. Let's just put that over there for a moment. So we've got a battery pack here, and a UV LED, and we'll just test that the battery pack actually does light the LED first. So the longer of the two wires that come out of the LED, you can see that, the slightly longer one is the positive, and it does make a difference because it doesn't work the other way around. So let's just test that a moment. And that doesn't work, so the wires are the wrong way around. So let's turn that over. And there we go. That's lit. So we know that works, and we need to remember that the red wire is the negative. Yeah, so that's the longer wire from the LED is the positive. So that's black, and the red one's negative. And because we want to hide this battery pack in the cavity wall as well, and that wire isn't long enough to go from the top of the cavity down to where we want it in front of the gravestones. So we need to extend this wire a little bit. So we've got a little bit more wire that we're going to attach to these and then attach to the LED. So a bit of soldering. So some solder. And we need to strip these wires with a knife. Sorry, let's move that out of the way. So, get my specs on for this. Just slice through in between the wires along the rubber insulation, and then pull them apart slightly like that. And then we need to strip that wire off the end. Twisting around slightly. So we need to attach these two to the other two with a bit of solder. And we'll use some shrink tube. You could, if you're not confident with solder, you could just twist the cables together, twist the wires together, and shrink tube them once you've twisted them. But solder gives a better, more permanent fix together. So a bit of heat shrink tube ready on the wire. There's a bit of solder. This is where you need 3 hands. That's that one done. Don't need quite so much solder as that. I've got the greatest soldering iron in the world. There we go. Not pretty, but functional. Right, get the heat shrink tube on. Like that. And we need a bit of heat on there. Like so. The As easy as that. Oop. So that's our wires extended on the battery pack, so that'll give us plenty of length to reach from the where we're going to hide the battery pack down to the bottom of the book nook for the gravestones. Right, so now let's wire the LED on the end of the wire. So again, we need to strip the ends of the wires, separate the two wires. Strip the ends off. Twist the wires around a little bit. Now we need to test again, because we haven't got red and black wires anymore, which wire is which. So just hold those in place. And that's not right. Change that over. And there we go. So we've got a good connection with our soldering. So we just need to make sure we know which one is which. Do that again. So this one that I'm holding is positive. Do a little marker. Need a little marker. Hold on out. So I'm going to mark on here which one is positive. So that's the longer one, so I know this one is positive. Just check that. Positive on the marked one. Cool. So, you need to be a little bit careful with soldering LEDs because you don't want to get too much heat into the LED itself because it'll burn the bulb out. So just be careful not to have the soldering iron on the LED for too long. So we'll just trim that leg off a bit. So that's the positive one we're doing first. Trim that a little bit. Get a bit more solder. Need some heat shrink tube in place before we do that. The heat on that. That's handy. And gas is running out. Yeah, I think the gas has gone. That's helpful. You get the idea though. Another piece of heat shrink tube on there, and we'll get some ready for this connection as well. So slide it over there, out the way. And then we need a couple of little bits here. Right, chop that one in half. Slide them over there. Right, let's try that again. So this time we want to be careful not to have the heat for too long on the LED. And it will be hot, so don't grab it. So that's that one on there. We'll do the other one. Trim that leg off a bit. Right, yeah, that's done that okay. I'll turn that off for a moment. So yes, at this point I would shrink those over there, but my flame has run out. But if you push them right up against the base of the bulb and put a little bit of heat on, taking care not to get too much heat on the actual bulb itself, and then once you've done that, slide the larger one over to neaten the job up. So that's pretty much it for that. So we've got a bulb wired up to a battery pack, and that you probably can't see, but it will light up quite well in the dark behind there. Because we're going to run the cable down from there. We'll hide that in the cavity, and run that cable down the front like so. So that will be hidden by the front panel, but light that up quite nicely. Just about see that. But in the dark, that will actually glow quite well. What we'll also do is put a little notch in the top here with a knife, just to locate the cable where it comes out of the cavity wall and down the side. Doesn't have to be very big. Like so. And then once that's in there, needs to be slightly bigger, obviously. And that can sit nicely that down there, and it won't snag the lid. And that cable we can run down the front there and hide that. So that's it for today.